words are really easy. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's really good to be here. It's really good to hear Shabbat Shalom back when you say it in real life, in person. It's great to be with you. It's nice to be with you in this room, and it's also nice to be with the people that are joining us online. Our service tonight will begin with Ki Eshmera Shabbat. Those who keep Shabbat, keep Israel. All connected together on page 11. After which, we'll invite Bart and Terry Cowan to the Bima to light candles in honor of their 60th wedding anniversary. So page 11.
Same words as from before. Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereni oti le'ol me'al beno uveni Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereni oti le'ol me'al beno uveni.
Source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Shalom, Mazel Tov. When
Shabbat
is
Shalom.
actually is the anniversary?
It's the 25th of June.
Mazel Tov.
Thank you. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Continue on page 24, welcoming in our Shabbat angels with Shalom Aleichem.
מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה.
We continue Kabbalat Shabbat, welcoming Shabbat with Lechune Ranana, Psalm 95, on page 12.
On page 14 from Psalm 97, Or Zarua, a light is sown for the righteous. Ulishrei lev simcha, for the end, happiness for the upright of heart.
This is the bottom of the page, bottom page 14.
Or Zarua la tzadik. Or Zarua la tzadik. Ulishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik. Or
used to singing that melody, maybe some of you have an image in your mind of on Yom Kippur taking the Torah scrolls from the Ark for Kol Nidre, right? And so it has, I think on Yom Kippur we focus on the or the light aspect, sort of the light of new opportunities. Yom Kippur, the light of all the rituals and the prayers that connected to that time of year of asking for forgiveness and tshuva, of returning. On Shabbat, though, we're focused on the simcha part, the joy of Shabbat, and that it's a joy to be upright. It's a joy to be righteous, and it's a joy to show that righteousness in our daily lives and on Shabbat especially. Continue with Lecha Dodi on page 20. Lecha Dodi is our one more opportunity for us to welcome Shabbat. We sing the paragraphs 1, 2. Now, so it's a good question. Now that we're
1, 2, 5, and 9.
All right, we're back to 1, 2, 5, and 9. And then when we get to 9, we rise to face Shabbat and to greet Shabbat through the door.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat, Lekabela, Lecha Dodi.
greet one another however you're comfortable. Please say Shabbat Shalom to someone that maybe you haven't seen or you haven't met before.
Shabbat Shalom, Peter. Shabbat Shalom, Jay.
For you right
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Bert. Shabbat
Yes,
Shalom,
so,
Jay.
right,
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom,
Jay.
everyone.
Right.
My goodness, you got in first, Rabbi Bert.
Yes. Well, it's
Shabbat
the
Shalom.
those are the skills I follow when I follow the tease master, Jay.
Oh, I see.
How's everybody
Shabbat
doing?
Shalom, Molly and Don. Shabbat
It's
Shalom,
Shabbos.
Zulima.
Shabbat Shalom, Bill.
Good
Shabbat Shalom,
Bill.
Bill.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos,
Shalom,
Peter.
Terry.
Hi, Terry.
Shabbat Shalom. Hi.
Hi,
Hi, Terry.
Hi,
See
Terry.
all of you.
Hi, Bill. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Yeah,
Bill.
Shabbat Shalom.
Kristen Karsh, Shabbat Shalom, even though you're muted.
All right,
We'll have the opportunity to greet each other again soon.
yeah, we have an opportunity after services to say Shabbat Shalom.
And have the
Shabbat
third,
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat
Bill.
Shalom.
Hi, Ruth.
Hi, Ruth.
You on page 22 with the Psalm for Shabbat, Psalm 92.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Please rise in body or spirit for Baruch on page 28.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
On page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך ותורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
You may be seated. On page 36, we continue.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו תותפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On page 41. And please join me. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
מי כמוך נהדר בכל כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נעדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. ונאמר כי פדרנו את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Hashkivenu, our people's nighttime prayer on page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu, l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu, l'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
Page 44 of the Shabbat.
וחברו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לבואתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים את הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת חיי נפש.
We turn now to Tefillah. The opening meditation is on page 46. Please rise and body your spirit as you are able.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Koneh HaKol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue, or you may be seated, we continue with our own silent prayer through the end of the tefillah.
עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. אמן, אמן. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. ועל כל יושבי תבל, amen.
Continue now with Misha Baruch for healing. In the prayer book, it's on page 253. I will read our list and then invite you to add any names of people that you're thinking about for healing. And then even as we have all those names collected, we realize that there's so many other people throughout the world whose names that we don't know. We pray for their healing of body and spirit as well. Tonight we hold in our hearts Mark Altbayer, Ira Altschuler, Dale Anderson, Miriam Barrell, Ann Barber, Frank Carl, Lou Salenzi, Hindasara Bat Chana Pearl, Shannon Fisk, Kathy James, Cy Loff, Mary Litzel, Chaim David Ben Miriam, Rif Qureshi, Bill Rakoff, Debbie Rakoski, Eliana Shira, Drew Tomasi, Claudius Willis, Joan Wolf Woolley, Doreen Zisla. Other names for Misha Barak for healing tonight? Hold on, go ahead. I heard someone over here. Did someone say that? Okay. Behold all their names.
Also, Terry Todd,
Oh.
Joanne Newman, Lee Kramer, Betty Gray, Tanya and Les Palmer, Marianne Linden.
Continue with Misha Barak in the middle of page 253.
Be the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So Shabbat Shalom. And given the brand new federal holiday, if that's the proper greeting, and if it's our holiday, I have a lot of, as one of my students in our adult bar mitzvah class would say, I have a lot of questions. But first, just to review what happened this week, most of you know, I'm sure, that President Biden and Congress moved quickly to make June 19th a federal holiday, an action that is meant, I believe, is meant to correct the absence of a national holiday commemorating the end of slavery. Juneteenth is a celebration of the news of the Emancipation Proclamation reaching Texas 2.5 years after it was declared or proclaimed, and 2 months, a little bit over 2 months after the end of the Civil War. Originally, it was a holiday for Black Texans, and then Juneteenth spread over the country by way of the Great Migration. And so as it spread, it took on regional flavors in terms of celebration. So various food, various, just like Jewish holidays, right? Various foods, various songs, various different kinds of celebrations. Everyone makes a brisket a different way. But so there was a piece in the New York Times by Kevin Young, who is the director of the National Museum of African American History and Culture, about Juneteenth, and he wrote this about the celebration. My Louisiana-born mother recalls celebrating Juneteenth as a child, eating homemade ice cream her grandfather made special for that day. He filled the icebox and let her know that freedom was what she was tasting. The day must have been all the more poignant for him, for he born in 1870, as his mother had been enslaved. So as I read you that description of why we're celebrating Juneteenth, I hope that you noticed the irony the painful irony that people are celebrating something that they could have known for 2.5 years and could have benefited from for 2.5 years, but it's a celebration nonetheless. So around this point of irony, Kevin Young observes this. He says, what Juneteenth and other emancipation days commemorate is both a promise of freedom and its delay. It is a holiday ringed like a good brisket, though not in smoke, but irony. Out of such ironies, Black people have made the blues, made lemonade, made good. The lesson of Juneteenth is both of celebration and expectation, of freedom deferred, but still sought, and of the freedoms to come. To that last idea, that the work of collective and universal freedom is ongoing, Mr. Young quotes Toni Morrison, who says, the function of freedom is to free someone else. The notion that we are not completely free until everyone is free should sound familiar. As Jews, we remind ourselves annually at our Passover Seders that our freedom from slavery obligates us to work towards the freedom of every oppressed person. It is here that I come up against my biggest question. As white Americans, most of us, white Jewish Americans, many of us, how do we celebrate, or do we celebrate, this new federal holiday? Kevin Young believes, the one I was quoting before, believes that African Americans should not have to bear the burden of our country's racial history alone. And therefore, we ought also be involved in the celebration of this end of slavery. So here's my suggestion. I've had a whole, 48 hours to think about it. But my suggestion as of right now, I believe we should follow the lead of our Black neighbors, listening to how we are being invited to show up. It is our job to witness their stories and culture, but not to appropriate. It is a federal holiday now, but I believe that how we celebrate is up to the Black community. Chris Harrison, in an essay on reformjudaism.org, wrote this. He said, as a Black Jew, I see Juneteenth as a beautiful reminder to not be complacent. While this holiday is a joyous one that affirms the Jewish notion that we all are created B'Tselem Elohim in God's divine image, or with this element of divinity within, and deserve to be free from bondage, it is equally important to remember that the fight for true equality is ongoing. Harrison and others remind us that while Juneteenth marks an important step in the rights of Black Americans, it is but one step. Juneteenth celebrated slavery becoming illegal 2 years later, but it did not do away with racism. In fact, Black people didn't even become full US citizens until 1868, and then waited until 1870 to receive the right to vote. And that was only men. In the years since, Black people continue to face hurdle upon hurdle on the path to true freedom. We are invited by the Black community to continue to work toward all kinds of issues that are relevant to the Black community, such as police accountability and prison reform, reparations, better public schools, job creation, good access to healthcare and housing. The list goes on and on. We are invited to set aside this June 19th as a day to think about and commit to human dignity. We are invited by the Black community to do that. We're invited by the Black community to set aside this day to do the work. And I believe that we are compelled by our Jewish values to accept the invitation. So there are many, many events that are happening in the community around Juneteenth, and the question of are white Americans supposed to go? The answer is, yeah, they're public events, and I was on a call with a Black minister at one of the churches, and he said, absolutely, that's why we're telling you about these events. That's why they're in the paper. So I'm just going to commend one to you. It's tomorrow afternoon, Shabbat afternoon at noon, in the Civic Arena parking lot. And or not the Civic Arena parking lot, is it called the Council? What's it called now, our arena? What is it called? Our arena, whatever our arena is called now. Thank you. The civic, what? Where the civic arena, okay, so many years ago, the first African Methodist Episcopal Church was in the area where the new arena was going to be built. I mean, this is a long time ago. They knocked down the church, no reparations, no money, nothing. They knocked down the church and they put up the arena. But then that arena got knocked down and we have another one, right? And now this church property is the parking lot of the new arena. So tomorrow at noon, there is a commemoration, a public commemoration of remembrance and reparation in the parking lot, because that is the roots of that church. So if you're available tomorrow at noon, it might be interesting to wander around the parking lot. As I was driving here tonight, I also noticed there was a big party going on the corner of Forbes and Braddock, and I'm sure there's other parties that are going on, and that it's important for us to show up. We're invited to show up, and we're compelled by our Jewish values to show up. Shabbat Shalom. What? No, I think you can walk. No, you go to the parking lot, you get out of your car, and then you go to the thing. But I can't be more specific than that because that's all I found. But I know we're invited because I was at a call where we were invited. All right. So we'll continue now our service with Aleinu, where we remind ourselves that all of these values and all these traditions, all these prayers are upon us to make real. Page 282, please rise in body or spirit.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Cottage is on page 294. I invite you to remain standing if you are standing. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and all those whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us: Leonard Barenfield, Ruth Oringer Frank, Carol Tobin Lewis, Hope Kalman Layton, Sally Lipson, Jeffrey Mark Robinson, Eugene Strasburger III, Lou Israel. We also remember those who died at this season in years past and whose yahrzeit we mark on this Shabbat: Robert Frumerman, Susan Kantowitz, Jack and Estelle Crewman, Gary Koch, Bernard Kramer, Morton Kress, Aaron Lother, Janet May, Joan Oberauer, Ann Parker, Marion Reamer, Milton Rosenberg, Jerry Stalinsky, Iris Teplitz, Cecilia Tract. And if there's names on the YouTube, if you're watching and you'd like to add a name, you can do that, and Molly will read it. Any additional names? Yeah. Anyone else? Zichronam livracha, may their lives, each of their lives, be for blessing. Join together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya Yitzbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitzpa'ar, v'yitramam, v'yitnasa, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei dekudashah,
Richu.
Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tishbachata v'nechamata, damiran v'yalma v'imru amen. Ehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, al kol Yisrael, al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen.
Amen.
You may be seated.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen.
This is Karen Breen. She's our immediate past president of the board for all of 6 days, and here she is back up on the Bema giving announcements.
Yeah, I came out of retirement for a minute. I know you're tired of seeing my face, and you'll see some new faces soon, but it just so happens that our decision to do announcements in person overlaps with Matthew Falcone's vacation with his family, so he's not here this evening and sends his regards, and I know he'll brief you soon. But as you can see, we're in the process of figuring out this space that we inhabit, where we are in mixed presence, and trying to build our focus in person here, while at the same time understanding that the cameras never go off. So one of our decisions then to greet you and to bring greetings from the board. You will see other board members. You'll see your new president, Matthew Falcone, and we hope that way you get acquainted even more with the lay leadership. So I just want to thank the worship team, as always, for finding that place for us as things change and as we all emerge. Thank you to Bill Klingensmith, who's behind the scenes running tech, to our ushers, Sandy Davis and Emmy Silk, and anybody else that I forgot to thank. Thank you so much, and Shabbat Shalom all.
And we also wish Mazel Tov to Bart and Terry, and thank you for lighting Shabbat candles tonight. My gratitude also to Don and Molly and to Luke, who's helping us with the sound way back in the back. We're going to conclude with a song called Sanctuary.
Yes. So this song, the Hebrew of this song is taken from the book of Exodus, from Parshat Terumah. This is where we build the sanctuary. Noticing in the chat that we are remembering the terrible shooting at Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, the anniversary of which was this week, and also thinking about the building of a sanctuary and the remembrance of the sanctuary where our arena parking lot now is. So there's some English words and some Hebrew words. Ve'asu li mikdash ve'shachanti betocham va'anachnu nevarach Yah me'ata ve'ad olam. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and in thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Ve'asuli
Make me a sanctuary, I may dwell among you.
Ve'shachanti betocham va'anachnu nevarach Yah
praise you
Ve'ata
from now until
ve'ad olam.
Continue now with Kiddush and Motzi. That's on page 5 and 302.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'i kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava u'v'ratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha'shabbat.
Chaim. We've decided that until we bring a knife, right?
Yeah,
This is all Molly's.
I brought people.
And anyone who lives in her house.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Shabbat Shalom.
Please remember to take your prayer books and replace your masks on your faces as you are leaving the sanctuary.